Good evening, guys, and welcome back to Kit Car Direct and MK Sportscars, week 46 of November 2019. Going to show you around some chassis. Okay, so I thought to do something a little bit different this week. We do workshop works and show you what's going on with cars, but we'll start off with some chassis here. It's been a very buoyant October and we're trying to rattle through the chassis at the moment to get most of them out between now and Christmas time. We've got a couple here. This is the MK Indy RR, so this is a round tube chassis. We get a lot of questions asking about the differences between the chassis, and yeah, sometimes it can sound complicated, but it's pretty simple, so we'll talk through the process of this. So this is a bike engine chassis. You can tell by the extra holes in here ready for the engine cradle and the mountings down here. This is going to have a CBR 1000RR engine in here. We're going to start this shortly. This is for a customer, Ben. It's going to be a factory built car. So you'll see, again, see this develop over the next sort of couple of weeks or so, where we start getting into the running gear and everything else into this. But the round tube chassis, it's 25mm round tube, ends up being about 15 kilos overall lighter than a square tube chassis. There's a couple of bits in this that are extra. We've put some extra bars for 6-point harnesses on this particular chassis. It's going to have paddle shift, but we've also put the centre gear lever bolt in if he wants to get back to that at some point. Anti-roll bar fixing points here, front one, and then there's two at the back for the rear, which are in this section here. We have a blade type anti-roll bar system. If you come to the rear of the car, you'll see here there's things that the chassis is evolving all the time, really, and we're trying to always improve and help and work with the customer to help it easier to build. But also from a safety and structural point of view, we put braces in for the diff now, which you can see here. We also, these are triangulation's been in for quite a while in here, but these are the fuel tank mounting tabs that we put in. Fuel tank, bosses for the fuel pipes, T's, they're already pre-done, so everything's kind of bolts in a lot easier and a lot quicker through here. These are for the electric reverse down in the tunnel here, really for IVA. And the electric reverses work, they're okay. It will get you out of a parking space, but they're not going to get you up a hill. It's designed really to sort of get through the IVA process. This has a extra bracing in here. This is for the centre mounting on the prop shaft here. And now we're going Mazda steering columns, and this is the mountings for that, and this is for the sort of paddle shift. And as you come down to the front end here, a lot of the earlier chassis before we took over in 2016 never had things like you could bolt your radiator on, so all the radiator brackets are in place. So again, you can change from a 42 to a 70mm core radiator without having to make new brackets. All of that will just bolt on for you. These are your rocker mounts, and now we're down to Escort quick racks now, so 2.4, or you can go 2.9. Most people is 2.4 quick rack, so those are already pre-mounted onto the chassis again with the spacers for the alley ones that we do. Brake T is already pre-mounted in the chassis as well, so making it easier. And then all the holes are cut in here. This is for the floor mounted pedal box, billet OBP going into this one. So this is a round tube chassis. It's got a roll cage on this. It's a custom roll cage, so it's one that the customer wanted on the car, so it's slightly variation of what we do. A 38mm cage. Looks quite nice actually. It's a really smart looking cage that's been designed now. And then we go over to, this is a Mazda chassis. It's going out of the weekend for customer James. See the difference straight away: square tube, round tube. All the fixing points are in the same place, so the radiator, everything else is all in there, etc. Even down to your fixing points for your Brady brake hoses in that particular chassis there. This one has the pedal box fitted in, so you can see what I was talking about earlier on the chassis plate with your adjustment for your throttle stop here as well. MX5 engine mounts in here, all ready to bolt in using your existing engine mounts off of your MX5 engine, so no additional engine mounts needed in that. The tunnels are very different. You'll see how different it is here, this centre tunnel, and how it curves round in and up to the Ford one, which is dead straight for the bike engine one. And there's a reason for that. When you get to the back of the car here, you'll see that this is for the Mazda diff. We've got two mounting plates here which mount for the Mazda diff, and then centre section one here. Basically the Mazda diff is offset, so we have to change the tunnel dimensionally here. You can see this bar would be very different. So the Mazda sits in a slightly different position. So although the chassis are basically the same on the outside skins and it all sits under the bodywork, all of the fixing points, the mounting points for the suspension and everything else in geometry has been completely altered. So they're basically the difference between the two chassis, a round tube and a square tube, and a Ford based and a Mazda based chassis. There, you can come and see us. If you get any questions, you pop down, you can see us here at any time or one of the shows. But yeah, we'll head down to the rest of the workshop and show you what else has been going on. So we've been on the Rocket. I think we said to you last week, we had all the stuff sent off for powder coating on the all the aluminium trim. We've started, Ben's been doing this today, back on it. So as you can see, all the centre tunnels, front section fuel tank covers, even all the swirl pots here, all been powder coated black. The bulkhead panels, front and rear, all in. The car looks so much better for it. The plain alley, it's a nice look, but it does wear out and it starts to scratch and mark and everything else. It can look a bit untidy in that. Now I think it's kind of make it a bit more subtle, more in keeping with the car, especially as an exoskeleton car. The amount of dirt and dust that gets onto these, I suppose, thrown up from the tyres, it can look a little bit untidy quite quickly. But yeah, as soon as you get the black in, etc., it really pops now. And sort of blends in there quite nicely. We've still got the gauge pods to fit, a few other side pod trims to fit on this particular one, and the rear support for the wing. So a few little tidying up bits and bobs to do on this, but it's great. I think the customer's going to be really happy, Barry, with that and how that's turned out for him. Looks really smart. So another chassis here, this is a Mazda chassis, which is, as we know, has been quite popular, and we're just fitting the floor pan for this particular customer. What we do, I'll show you actually. These particular ones, we use like a closed head rivet. It's a sealed end rivet. You may get a close up of that or not in there. That's a sealed end rivet. So when we use these and put them in, there is a video actually on YouTube already about fitting the floor pan. It will help you fit your floor pan as well. But this has been fitted. This is ready to, a few other bits to get together ready for this customer. We've got the fuel tanks, a few other parts to go out, but there's a few little bits and this chassis will be ready to go out. And what we do now, we just head over. I'm just going to show you the differences in rear arches actually on the Mazda cars. Just wanted to show you something here. These are two Mazda cars, but it's irrelevant. It's either Ford or Mazda. It's the same chassis, same bodywork, etc. We've got two different arches. These are our original demo car, and one we're building another one here. But we've got two different arches. These are our extra wide arches, and these are our narrow arches. Now I think you can see the difference just by the light fitting. Because we're using the same light fitting here, you'll see how much difference they are. It's 50mm wider on the rear, so it gives you a good sort of indication of how much wider the stance and how much more aggressive it looks as well. Obviously allows you to get way more meat under the rear tyre here if you've got a high powered car or you're running big slicks on track, etc., like a couple of the booster boys do. But so if you're looking to go that way, extra wide arches if you're running big power or you're running big slicks, etc., that'll be the way forward. Standard arches, perfectly road cars, and if you're running up to sort of a 7-inch wide rim, these you can go up to about 9 inches. I think someone has actually put 9.5 under them with the right offset as well. So plenty of meat, plenty of tyre you can get under this rear arch here. So that's where we're at this week. Like, share, see us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Give us a shout, give us a holler. Hopefully share it with all your friends, your family, whatever. It's a bit cold out there. Shame we can't get out and test drive some of these cars and show you. But hopefully in the coming months we can show you some more information. I'll see you again next week, guys.